Welcome to another episode of Over 50 and Flourishing. Today's guest is the epitome of faith-fueled grit, big dreams, and even bigger Texas energy. Meredith Jurica is the founder and CEO of Makeup Junkie Bags, a viral sensation that started at her kitchen table and grew into a national phenomenon. From Shark Tank to QVC to thousands of boutique shelves, her line of innovative, award-winning cosmetic bags has just become a staple for beauty lovers everywhere. But behind the brand is a woman with a very powerful story, a mother, an entrepreneur, and a mentor who built her business from the ground up with a glue gun, sheer determination, and a whole lot of heart. Meredith's journey is proof that resilience, faith, and a splash of lip gloss can certainly take you far. She is here today to share not only how she built her brand, but how she is lifting others along the way. Meredith, welcome to Over 50 and Flourishing. Oh my gosh, you have married two of my favorite things, entrepreneurship. We'll make that three: entrepreneurship, faith, and beauty. And there is literally a wall of beauty behind you. For those who are listening, I just want them to know that if you're watching on YouTube, all of your makeup bags are on display behind you. What a beautiful backdrop.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here and talk about these beautiful bags.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you. Your story is really something special. First of all, it's always great talking to a native Texan. You're from the Conroe area, which is north of the Houston area. So, for a little while, we kind of shared the same town and city, but we do share the same state, which is an awesome thing. Your story, though, Meredith, is really quite spectacular. I mean, I would like for you, because a lot of people know, as I set it up in the introduction, you were on Shark Tank and QVC, and I mean, you just exploded, right?
Yes.
But take us back to that day at your kitchen table. What made you actually pull the trigger and go with these bags?
Very good question. I love that question because at first I kind of had to, ask myself that too. So I,
Mhm.
I worked for the school district for 10 years and in my kitchen just made the flat packing, leak
Mhm.
resistant travel bag. Nobody had applied a flat packing design to toiletries, makeup, shampoo, all that kind of stuff. And they take up no space in your suitcase. So I was like, oh, just made it for myself. I was frustrated with modern day cosmetics and toiletry bags that were not keeping up with what the industry's doing. We have these big artisan palettes, contour kits, eyeshadow
Mhm.
kits, and no makeup bag that I could find would store it. So I went to the local craft store here in Texas, the Hobby Lobby, and I purchased some different fabric types, some zippers, and just kind of like Frankensteined my first bag around Urban Decay eyeshadow palettes. And then I was
Mhm.
like, there. So took it on a girls' trip. My best friends were like, where did you get that bag? Where did you get that bag?
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I made it. And they were like, oh my gosh, make me one. My mom's birthday, my sister's birthday. And next thing I know, this little seed, like you call it, started growing. The little snowball started rolling. So I made a free Facebook page with my initials, MJ Makeup Junkie. I called it the Makeup Junkie Bag. And yeah, I got over 700 orders my first month just through Facebook Messenger. And I was like, yay. And then I was like, oh no, how am I going to make all these bags? So I just kind of had a month of reflection and then decided to make the LLC, develop the website, hire help, employees and stuff. And one patent and Shark Tank later, here we are.
Wow, here we are. And that speaks to honoring what is planted inside of us. So many times we talk ourselves out of a great idea. And I'm sure, you may have sat there and thought, well, okay, this is too simple to be this successful, right? But you actually met a need. And, until I saw and tested and tried your bag, it makes you realize, why on earth was every makeup bag designed in a vertical space where the minute you put stuff in it, it's going to tump over? What a great concept to go horizontal to keep it flat. And you're right, everything is sort of palette based. How did you not talk yourself out of this idea?
Um, I think because at the time when I made it, I didn't even, I had, was not aware of what was happening. Those videos you see where they're like, she has no idea, but 5 years from now, I mean, here we're about to sell our 1 millionth makeup junkie bag.
Wow.
Since I started this, I have an excellent staff here. And I think at the time I was solving a problem that I had. They say, don't sell a product, sell the problem. And I had a problem. I couldn't store these big palettes and brushes. So I made the flat bag. And then I was like, oh my gosh, that travels I can fit twice as much stuff than my normal kit. So I made a bigger one for shampoo and conditioner. So if your shampoo leaks in your bag, your suitcase stays dry. Now we have all these sizes and things. So I think at the time when I went for it, I didn't really know what I was going for, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
And
totally.
it just happened very quickly, but I was enjoying it. I was very proud that people who were purchasing my handmade products were like, hey, I really like this. I'm going to get another one, or I'm going to get one for my friend. I had so much pride from that and made that decision to step out of the world of speech pathology and pursue this full time. And it's grown so much. And I love it very much.
Well, I can tell. I mean, you just ooze passion and excitement when you talk about this.
Thank
And as
you.
I look at all the bags behind you, and I encourage people who are listening on maybe Apple or Spotify to come over and check out the YouTube video of us talking, because really it is this colorful array of
Yes.
bags. And to your point, different shapes and sizes. So walk us through, what did you start out with? What was your first prototype? What kind of size? What did it look like? And now what have you expanded to?
Okay. Yes. So I know earlier you were touching on what made you move forward, and the pride was a big part of that. So
Mhm.
every year we've added and grown and improved and stuff. So the first prototype was this medium size for
Okay.
Urban Decay eyeshadow palettes. You can fit about 10 palettes in one, but also a ton of other products as well. So this was kind of the first one, the first size that I did, and
Mhm.
then I would obviously they pack flat in your suitcase. You know how like a normal toiletry kit takes up your whole quarter of your suitcase.
Absolutely,
Um,
it's a beast.
yes, and then these have such a beautiful water-resistant fabric inside with double tuck seams. So, like the shampoo, the sunscreen, if it busts in the bag, it won't ruin all your beautiful clothes in your suitcase.
Mhm.
So then we made the large, medium, small, and mini, which is the 4 different sizes that are hanging behind me on the wall. And then we started wholesaling to boutiques and gift shops, and we have Bucky's Travel Stop, we have Hallmark stores, we have every little boutique in every town that we could, meet and introduce the bags to, started carrying them. And then the momentum really picked up. And now we do crossbody purses, tote bags, backpacks. I have a makeup line called MJ Cosmetics that I've been, slowly developing. Owning the name Makeup Junkie is a big deal. There's so much
Mhm.
versatility, especially in the cosmetics world. So, yeah, the past 7 years, I've just been adding products. My staff is so fantastic. Lou, my right hand, is all my product development. I can draw something like a 5-year-old on paper. And I was like, look at this cool backpack I drew. And he's like, let me make it. So it's a whole operation now. We distribute nationwide, and we're about to start distributing to Canada, and we do everything ourselves. We manufacture, we distribute. So I'm very proud of this truly made in Texas brand that we.
Oh, I love it. So, and you said, you were so funny. You said before the podcast recorded, you said, if you hear any sewing machines in the background, just let me know. And I love that. I think that there are people who are listening who are like, how cool is that? These bags are being made in Conroe, Texas.
Yeah.
They're not mass produced somewhere and brought into the country. I mean, you are red, white, and blue, my dear.
Yes, we are very proud of that. Very, very proud of that. I know on the show that we were on, Shark Tank, which I still can't believe I was on that show. It's one of those moments where you're like, is this really happening right now?
Mhm.
Like,
A pinch
so
yourself, sort of, surreal. And I'm going to ask you about that in just a little bit.
yes. So, there's a lot of talk about where do you want to manufacture after the show and stuff like that. And we can get into that, but I'm very proud I kept it here. We just have the most wonderful staff and the most wonderful following of customers that love on us all the time. And I feel very, very fortunate for this company.
Yeah. Walk us through a little bit of entrepreneurship. I mean, this was your entree, literally, into it. And a
Mhm.
lot of people are very fearful. They think, well, maybe I have the idea, but I don't have the funds. Or maybe I have some funds, but I don't have the right idea. How were you able to merge the two? I mean, you clearly came up with a great idea, but how did you get seed money? Did you invest your own money? What were the beginning stages like for you?
Great question. So basically, I grew it as I had the ability to, which wasn't always a huge ability. I knew I
Right.
wanted to pursue it. I knew had pride. I enjoyed it. I had a patent pending, all of this kind of stuff. So I knew that I wanted it to grow and I wanted to nurture it. And somebody asked me one day, what do you want to do with this?" And I was like, "I want to be the Kendra Scott of makeup bags." You know how everybody knows her iconic jewelry brand. I want people to think, cosmetic bag and think of Makeup Junkie. So at the time, my family and I at the time invested about $5,000, and I started buying materials, and then I would sell those. I did not take a paycheck for quite a long time because I was so excited, like, oh, I just sold those 30 bags. Now I can go buy more fabrics, and now I can do this and that. So it was a long time before it paid off financially, because I literally dumped everything that I was making back in. And then I needed a website, and then I needed to have a legal
Mm-hmm.
team, and then I had to pay the patent, the patent board. You go back 10 times, there's always a bill due by them. So I would say investing back in the company, especially the first year or so, is what kind of helped it grow, instead of just taking the profits and just
Mm-hmm.
coasting with it. And then I also had to learn about bulk buying. Before this, I had no business background or anything about manufacturing retail. I was in the medical and educational field with my speech pathology degrees. And so I was buying fabric at Hobby Lobby full price. And then
Right.
I started to contact bulk fabric people, and they were like, well, you have to buy like, 100 yards at least to get our pricing. And I was like, oh man, I can only afford 20 right now. So there's actually a guy in California, a friend of mine, and he was like, okay, fine, I'll ship you 20, but you're going to pay a little extra. I was like, that's fine. And within 6 months, I was like, I need 250 yards of black. I need 100 yards of pink. And he called me and he was like, what are you making down there in Texas? And I was like, this fabulous bag, and everybody wants it. So it was so cool to finally have that shift where, the ball that's rolling just starts kind of rolling by itself.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, so thrilled. And it took about a year though of reinvesting before I felt like, I think I can take a paycheck now.
Which is, hey, listen, that's normal. And there are many, many entrepreneurs and startups where that goes on for years before they can take a paycheck. So you have to really believe in your product, believe in yourself. And it is an investment and it will take time. But boy, did it pay off big time for you. People got to see you on Shark Tank. And I'm sorry, but everybody wants to know. What was that like? What was it like behind the scenes and the hosts and judges? And, tell us about that experience.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny because after the show, you get so many people that were like, okay, how does it work? And is it different than real life? And of course, we
Mhm.
have that confidentiality agreement. But,
Sure.
the parts I can tell you, it is so intimidating. I think if you
Mhm.
look closely, I was shaking and you could see my spray tan dripping down where I was sweating. Like, because you don't,
You're supposed to wash that part off first.
I know. So limited time. And so the doors open and there they are in front of you, and you've never met them before. And then you have to
Wow.
pitch your product, and it's not like a, take, no, you get one chance to kind of go out there. So of course I'm on the phone with my mom and dad and everybody, and I'm like, oh, what if I choke?
Yeah.
They were just very encouraging. It was intimidating. It was the best decision I ever made. It helped my business so much. The Greniers, if you watch the show, I got 3 offers, and then
Mhm.
I took an offer from Lori Grenier. But,
Mhm.
occasionally those deals don't always go through just for different reasons and stuff. So I actually still own 100% of the company. And she's such a sweetheart. And I just can't say enough about them. She actually came to a party with me in Los Angeles a few years ago. That was really fun.
Wow.
So outside of the show, I know. So it was, a long process, but I would do it again in a heartbeat. And I encourage anybody who has an idea for a product or service to at least apply. All I did was fill out an online application. I didn't go to an open casting call or anything. They were
Wow.
like, upload your product, upload a video of yourself. I think I had my hair in a bun and I had put the kids to bed, and I was like, hey, Shark Tank, I'm Meredith. Like, I make this flat little bag. Look how much I can put in it. It was just something so simple. So I'm one of those, like, go for it. If you have
Yes.
something, go for it.
That's such a great message. And I love that you put yourself out there and you didn't make it all perfect, right? You got the mom bun going and it's like, here I
Yeah.
am. But it's that authenticity that resonates so much. And that's probably what they pounced on, was that they just felt your energy and they're like, well, wait a second, this is a really cool product. So after the show, kind of walk us through what that looks like, because we see the show and we see, an offer. What were those next kind of days and months like post Shark Tank?
Whew, a whirlwind,
Mm,
which I know is a very broad term that a lot of people use for an overwhelming situation.
yeah.
We sold the 6 weeks following the show. We sold what we sold the entire year before. which
Wow.
for a woman who has worked, in the school district for 10 years, that was like, oh my gosh, it was overwhelming.
Hmm.
Kind of tears me up a little bit to
Yeah.
think about it. It still feels like I'm living a dream, to be honest. Um, it was a lot of pride, a lot of yay celebrations with people, and then a lot of, oh no, now we have to scale. You know,
Hmm.
so after the show aired, we sold out of every bag that we had, and we were on every time we'd make a new product, it would just disappear. We were on
Mm.
back order for 6 months before we actually
Wow.
could keep stock in our office. So I didn't know anything about business, anything about scaling. So I always say I'm a Google taught. I'm a Google student. So
Hmm.
a lot of online courses, a lot of self teaching, because I was like, okay, I don't know how to do this, but I need to. Um, I don't know. It was
Hmm.
very quick on my feet, lots of troubleshooting issues, mass shipping. My girls used to ship out, a handful to a dozen packages a day, and now they were getting hundreds of orders a day, and they're looking at me, for leadership. And now what are we supposed to do? There's only two of us, and I was like, oh my gosh, we have to figure this out. A quicker shipping process and more people, and all of that came right after the show aired. Yeah,
Wow.
it's a lot.
Wow, so you basically got your MBA from Google U,
Yeah.
you know, honestly, I guess I'm so curious because, I mean, here you are with an idea. These guys are the business people, right? They are rooted in business. So I guess I always wondered, do they help you get established as an entrepreneur? I mean, do they provide feedback, guidance? Okay, well, you need to do this, you need to have this, or are you still sort of on your own at that point?
I would say for each individual Shark Tank contestant probably has a different experience. For
Mhm,
me, landing with the Greniers, I was on like a WooCommerce platform before, and they were like, no, we got to get you on Shopify. So
mhm,
despite the fact that I still own 100% of my company, they were very kind and sweet. And yeah, and the partnerships, the ones that actually do become partners, we have a whole group of us Shark Tank alumni. We're in group text, we're in Facebook groups, we're in all of these, like, let's support each other, Shark Sisters kind of thing. Um,
mhm.
so we all kind of talk to each other about our different experiences. And I know that the show has been phenomenal for many brands to take them to a level that they could have never. I was doing well in my home, but again, before the show, it's just something that changes your life. I know Barbara Corcoran on my episode, she was like, you seem like you're selling a lot. Why are you here? And I was just, kind of goofing around, like, why are you here? Like, so,
Exactly. Right, we
yeah,
all have goals.
but they care, they mentor. We love Lori so much. We always
Mm,
follow all her social medias and send her little messages and
yes.
stuff like, oh, just nothing but wonderful things to say.
Yeah, well, speaking of mentors, you are a mentor, you're a mom, you're an entrepreneur. That is a lot. How do you juggle it all?
After a whole lot of not juggling it correctly and then learning how to juggle it correctly. So there was never a natural way for me to do it all well. So over the years, I've learned, wait a second, if I do this and that, and now we have the work phone and the personal phone, and we put the work phone away at 5 o'clock. And
Mm,
all of these little things that have taught me how to juggle it all, because I want it all. I want to be with my kids all the time, which this
mhm,
job allows me. I want to grow my brand like it's grown. I love what I do and I love my company. I want to be a good wife to my husband. I want to be a good best friend and sister. So that's a lot of wanting to do all those things with only 24 hours in a day. So I think sometimes I'll have weeks where it's a little bit unbalanced and I'm like, oh, I feel the work scale tipping this week. But most of the time, my balance has been pretty good, but that's just years of learning the world's not going to end if I put my work phone away at 5 o'clock, and
right.
then sometimes my employees, like if it's an issue, they'll be like, oh my gosh, we messed up an order or something. And I'm like, look, at the end of the day, it's just bags. We want to have a great customer service experience in this, but we're also humans. So giving ourselves that margin of grace for being humans too in personal and work life has helped. Don't expect
Yeah.
perfection.
Well, absolutely, and you use the word grace. I'm assuming that there is an undercurrent of faith that's running through all of this in you.
Hmm. Oh, absolutely. it's one of those things that's just really difficult to explain because you have this. I know I have a faith-based relationship, with the Lord, and
Mhm.
there's nothing short of miraculous that has happened with this company. It's just all the little things that just happen. There's so many. I could probably just sit here and make you a list if I had time to think about it. But even my sister to this day, she's just like, the hand of God is all over this business because it
Mhm.
doesn't matter what year it is, something awesome happens or something, um, you know, even the ways that we give back, partnering, like this fall, we partner with Memorial Hermann Hospital in the Pink, and that's supposed to be our
Mhm.
fourth partnership with them. And the people that we help and the testimonies and all of that, um, I think it's all tied back to faith, and not just faith in yourself. You have to have faith in yourself if you want to be an entrepreneur. You
Mhm.
have to, because there's going to be a lot of days that try to shake that faith, but you got to keep it strong. And then I think that comes from my faith in the Lord, where I'm like, that's okay. He's got it figured out. If I have a really sour week at work, a deal didn't go through, lost a big
Mhm.
account, good employee moved or something, then, I always go, that's okay. There's something on the other side of this that he's wanting me to wait for. So if you maintain that mentality, it'll keep you positive and not in the trenches of negativity from the ups and downs of life.
Amen, sister. Well, glory be to God because he deserves all the praise for anything that happens in our life. So it's
Mhm.
wonderful to hear you say that. And, what a beautiful role model you are to your children. How old are
Thank
they?
you. So I have a 10-year-old, a 13-year-old, but we're a blended family. We're a Brady Bunch. So we also have an 11-year-old and another 13-year-old. Both of the teenagers are girls. So that's really fun right now.
Oh, I bet they are loving what you're doing. Okay, I'm sure
They
they have a
do.
bag in every color.
Oh my gosh. Every time they come to the office, they're like, Mom, please, just one more. The big girls actually want to work here this summer, putting the tassels on the bags. They want to earn a little
Mhm.
tour money. They'll, come in and be like, do you think we can make me a backpack? Like, I love this. And I'm like, which one of you wants to take this over one day? And then half of
Mhm.
them are like, I do. And half of them are like, nope, I got my own plans. So I love they can be with me in the summers and on Christmas break if I have to leave in the middle of a work day because they're sick. This gives me the flexibility to be a very present mother. We have fourth grade awards tomorrow at lunchtime. I'll pop over for that. So what I love the most is that they are with me so deeply in this business, like all the time, that I don't feel like I have to choose between having a entrepreneurship career or being a really good present mom.
Mm. What life lesson do you think you're showing them in the moment?
Definitely, you cannot get something for nothing. Hard work pays off. They see how hard I work. They see how many people I have to talk to a day, how many phone calls I get a day, my task lists, that if I
Mhm.
don't do these 20 things today, then these 20 people can't do their job. And all of the pressure that comes with running, not just having a piece of the pie, but the one baking the whole pie. They see that the grit that takes, but they also see grace. They get to go see who our fundraisers help. They get to see all of the fantastic employees. Y'all hear that? Y'all are fantastic. That this makeup bag company supports in our local community,
Yeah.
feeding families. Eliana and Nelson just bought a house a few months ago, and they came to me and they were like, it's because of this job. And now I'm going to cry. But they're a
Mm.
married couple that works here. So I think them getting to see that quality of life in your job is so important.
Yeah, it's everything. And you're right. When you think about that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. You are not just benefiting the entire community that is purchasing the bags, but you are creating this family, this business. And people do become family, right? And you have enabled people to create a life, a wealth, a standard for themselves as well, to basically live the American dream. And I think sometimes when you're standing in your kitchen and you're like, I have an idea for a bag. Your head probably doesn't go to that side either of how you can potentially benefit other lives just by the creation of your business.
Mhm. That's correct. You think, oh, this would be fun or this would be cute. And when you look at it at the end of the day, like one bag, how many hands have touched that fabric? It
Mhm.
comes from the fabric distributors that I attended a fabric show and I was like, ooh, I want that one. And I think this is good. We lifetime guarantee every fabric is tested, machine washable, make sure there's no ink that comes off, make sure it's not manufactured poorly. There's 100 steps to get to giving one woman a bag or one man. We also have a men's line called Man Junk Bags, manjunklifestyle.com.
And okay, how'd you come up with, well, should I ask how you came up with the name? Because it's kind of funny.
Yeah. So when I started Makeup Junkie, because MJ, my initials, it's supposed to be a play on my name. But
Sure.
honestly, it's a beautiful Ziploc bag. If I would have known I would made it on national television, I wouldn't pigeonhole it for makeup. But
Yeah.
women were putting on our Facebook page, hey, my husband took my flower bag. He doesn't care that it's covered in flowers. He likes how it packs flat and he can put a bunch of stuff in it. The function that got me the patent, the design patent, was apparent to not just women. So I was like, MJ, I need one for the men, MJ. And then I checked and nobody had trademarked man junk. And I was like, how has nobody trademarked man junk? So my sister was like, don't you dare. And I was like,
I'm
file
going there.
for trademark. And that's a fun name too. We actually do a whole line of men's bags at manjunklifestyle.com, which is our men's version of our website. And now we are on our third launch of our man junk underwear, very highly sought after, well-made underwear.
Noted.
We have a men's tag too instead of
Oh.
a lips lady tag.
So Meredith, you absolutely exploded. And as we were listening, you've got your man junk, you've got bags for guys, you've got bags for everything at this point. I was curious about the patent process, and I bet a lot of women are just wondering, how do I go from idea to actual product? So what was that like?
Okay, so I love this question because I had no clue either. I worked at a school for 10 years. I didn't know how to patent something. So I asked for a reference for somebody that does intellectual property and patenting. And the law office that helped me make my LLC recommended somebody. And this company was KMD Law. Hey guys in Houston, in case they listen to this. They've done all of my trademarks, my patent. They worked so hard for me. So basically, they kind of give you a ballpark of what it's going to cost, because a lot of up and coming businesses are like, the cost, we don't have the seed money. Like you said, we only have a little bit to work with each month. And so they told me what cost it was. They kind of split my fee up into payments so that I could eat it a little bit at a time. You have to expect for the unexpected. You can't, when you file for a patent, you're protected from when you file, it's patent pending. And so then you have to wait for the USPTO to review your application, and they either look at it and do all their checks and balances and say, there's nothing else like this, it meets all criteria, we'll approve it. Or they spit it back at you and tell you, nope, this is what we found wrong, this is what we found wrong. So mine got spit back about 4 times, but my legal, the KMD guys were like, Meredith, but they didn't give a hard no. They just said, this needs to be identified more clearly. This draft needs to be more specific. And so we just sent it back, molding it into what would qualify and pass their criteria. And then one day I'm sitting there and my lawyer texts me with, a happy emoji. And he's like, check your email. The USPTO approved your patent. And so it can be such a long process. So also,
How long?
It took mine a year and a half, I believe. To go through. And in that process, you're pending and you're trying not to have people knock you off and, all of this kind of stuff, because it's just a dog eat dog world out there in the in the product world. So I would bet for extra time and extra money, because every time the USPTO sends it back, you have to pay the fees for them to take another look at it, because they've got to pay their staff too, I'm sure. And you can also do some deep dive if you have like a design patent or utility patent. You can do deep dives into the checklist that are the standard items that they require, just so going into it you don't get it spit back at you like with a big capital no the first time. You kind of have somewhat sticking to the guidelines.
Interesting. So when it's getting spit back to you, basically, is it because it's a description on something isn't clear, or is it because it's too similar to another product that already exists?
It can be either or. So for mine, it wasn't similar to any other products. They just didn't understand it. The patent should be able to tell you the functionality, the uses, the dimension, like everything. And our initial application was too vague. So then we even specified everything right down to the tassel assembly. My patent's actually hanging on the wall right there. But so if you look at my finished patent now, which is public record, you'll see like right down to the tassel, the zipper down the middle, the flat packing nature for travel items and packing. And we just kept, adding more descriptions, more intended use, things like that, until they were like, okay, I can see this design of this bag is meant for travel or storage. And then one day it just happens. And the hard part about patents is there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that they will say yes and approve it. You can have it pending for 2 years and pay kickbacks each time, and then find out that it didn't get approved at the end of the day. And I think as long as people prepare for that, then, extra time, extra money, not a guaranteed yes would be my three big ones with patents.
Got it. Any other possible unexpected, whether it is expenditures or time delays in a business startup that people should be aware of?
Yes, I think especially as a startup, you're going to need a lot of things. Well, I do air quotes, but you need a lot. I do too many air quotes. Um,
I don't think there is such a thing.
so you're going to need a lot of things, but you're not going to have the funds to do it. We didn't take investors. I didn't take anyone's money. Like I said, we
Mhm.
used our family money, $5,000. I only bought what I could afford each month and then dumped all the profits back in. And I know some people get investors or seed money or take a loan, things like that. But you're going to need everything and you're going to want it all at once. And you're going to have to make hard decisions. Like, I really wanted a website, but the developer said it was going to be $3,500. And I was
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh. So I actually I didn't understand my labor prices. I looked at
Mhm.
what I was charging people for the bags when I was making them in my home, and I was like undercharging major. I wasn't even making a profit. So,
Mm.
once that kind of led me to make a better profit. And I was like, this month is website month. I'm paying the 3,500 for my website. And then next month I'm buying new product tags, like these. I would only buy 100 at a time, what I could afford. And like this month I'm buying 5,000 tags, next month I'm buying 5,000 tassels. So I invested in my business one small thing at a time as I could. Do I wish I had all the funds to do it all like in the beginning? Yeah,
Right.
I like to come out on the red carpet with the bang, but I had to be patient and build it slowly, truly from bootstrap it from the beginning. And after doing that for 7 years, it is the most splendid operation right now. And yeah, I just had to be really patient.
Yeah, well, hey, but listen, all good things come with patience. I'm going to ask a question that I think Courtney is going to appreciate, and that's about marketing and social media and the role that that plays. But you also had a very unusual advantage with Shark Tank,
Mhm.
which is the best marketing I think you could ever get. But, that will dissipate over time. So, how do you keep yourself out there and in the game?
So this is a great question because I call this the Shark Tank tidal wave. Okay.
Okay.
We had Shark Tank tidal wave happened in 2019, where you don't even have to try to sell a product. It just falls from the sky, back order
Mhm.
for 6 months. And then we had 2020. So you have the throttle here for tidal wave year, and then you have 2020, which wasn't in the middle, it was here. So after that, I was like, what does my business really look like? Like, if you follow our social media pages for Makeup Junkie Bags Facebook, Makeup Junkie Bags Instagram, and we do have a TikTok, we really try to showcase all of our new products. We post
Mhm.
regularly. I have a social media team now with models and several people that post and answer comments in there. And if you don't post that often, you
Mhm.
probably will kind of wash away into the background.
Right.
And you have to do that. You have to get out there and talk about your brand. We have field trips here for schools. We offer Girl Scout badges for, when they have to make stuff. We insert ourselves in front of people to remind them that we're here. And as far as marketing goes, you have things you can do on Google. You have Facebook ads. Getting into stores is a great way. We go to the Dallas Market Center and we get into stores there. We meet tons of stores and
Mhm.
go, oh, please love us. Please carry our stuff in your store. There's no bigger megaphone than these fantastic stores that love our brand because they have
Mhm.
their own customer bases and it becomes kind of a domino effect.
Right. I'm so curious. Everybody shops online these days. Where is your biggest chunk of your business? Is it from actual retailers or is it the online shopper?
So, our biggest um, part of my business right now is with live selling boutiques.
Mm.
So these are people that don't own a proper brick and mortar boutique that you can walk into. These are girls who have built massive amounts of followers, and they do like basically like a QVC style show. So they'll hold it up and be like, "Hi, I'm so and so. Here's what I'm have for sale for you today." And their customers just like shopping with them, almost like they're online shopping, but with a live person showing you the product. Because the wow factor with my bags is how much they hold and how leak resistant they are. We go on these videos with big online boutique owners and we're like, watch, I'm going to put 40 things in here. And the customers are like, shut up. Did that just happen? Or we'll squeeze a shampoo and be like, look, it's not going to leak out. So the ability to demonstrate the product on these live boutique sales has been
Mm.
astronomically successful for us. And they're also a bunch of fun because all of the stores that we work with are like really sweet.
That's really cool. That is the beauty about where I guess the industry is going, and I would like to even have you forecast because you know I people were always just, well, okay, I just need to get into these retailers, but there are so many avenues now to be able to sell your merchandise. Where do you see things going?
I think definitely the average retail shopper is digital, right? We have
Mhm.
Amazon, we have Walmart.com, we have online everything, TikTok shop, all of these things. Um, I wish that I could see the hard data on how many American consumers shop online versus in person at stores.
Mhm.
I know personally we work with over 5,000 brick and mortar stores, and we've seen a significant drop in the amount of brick and mortar stores. So a lot of people are closing their doors and shifting to online platforms. Store owners that have been had their shops open for 20 years are now like, oh darn, I have to make a website and a social media, and we've actually helped a few of them and said, okay, we're gonna get everything digital now. You can still do what you're doing, but take it to a digital level. So I predict that only growing the digital shopping phenomena. At this point, I think it's all part of life, and I think Amazon was one of the pioneers in that really changed the game for the American shopper.
Sure, sure. The shopper has gotten very used to the ease of it, the ease of receiving product as well as returning product. And I certainly hope that more American companies, but to your point, it's a cost. You've got to get yourself set up digitally to be able to do it. You've got to be able to have shipping and receiving and all of that. So hopefully, a lot of these smaller kind of mom and pop stores can catch up. But it is tough to stay relevant that way. I also want to talk about just mentorship in general. I know you believe it is important to give back. You've got an amazing story to be able to share and to give. So, how do you see your role in the community, and what does that look like for you?
Awesome. Well, we have a philanthropical kind of cover page on our website called MJ's Blessing Bags. And
Mm.
these are fundraisers that we partner with, and we donate the proceeds to whatever charitable entity that we're working with. So that's one way that I really try to tell the community, hey, do you have a cause that you want to raise money for? We'll put the bag online. You guys help market it and stuff like that to all of the people involved in your organization or people who attend fundraisers for that. And then we donate the proceeds. We've done like the Thrive School for Autism. We just did a big one. We printed these beautiful autism themed bags. And then we have done breast cancer, obviously partnering with the hospital here, and the Pink
Mm.
Foundation is a huge success for that. As far as in the local community, I've had the Houston Fashion College, multiple
Mhm.
business classes from high schools, and even like I said earlier, the Girl Scouts that need to earn their badge for a specific making something. So we really try to open our doors to anybody that we can help. If somebody comes and says, I want to do a fundraiser, we never say no, because all we have to do is make them a special bag, put it on the website, and the people that support that cause will come and drive that fundraiser. So the fact that we make all these bags ourselves gives us so much dynamic opportunity to work with a lot more people and entities than I think we could have if I was making them
Mm.
elsewhere and didn't have that
Sure.
much control.
Meredith, if I could jump through this screen and hug you, I would. You are a
Thank
girl
you.
and an entrepreneur after my own heart. I adore you.
Thank you.
Literally, I adore you. I
Thank
think
you,
you are an
Nikki.
amazing woman. Tell everybody where they can find you. We're going to put all your links and everything below, but just rattle it off.
Okay, you can find us at makeupjunkiebags.com or manjunklifestyle.com, and you can follow Makeup Junkie Bags on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
All right. Meredith Jurica, what a joy. What a pleasure. I can't believe I never got to know you when I was in the Houston area, but from one Texan to another, I salute you. I am so proud of you and God bless.
Thank you. Bye.
So great having Meredith with us today. And now it is time for our Dear Dominique question of the day. And I think it's a really good question that sort of ties in with what we talked about today. This is from Kristen Weiss, and her question is: Hi, Dominique. I love your content and find it so aspiring. I'm not in midlife, but in the phase of my life where I'm starting off in my career, looking to build and grow both personally and professionally. The idea of starting a family scares me because I am in such a busy time in my career. Can you share how you navigated that and tips to manage both being a parent and successful in your career? Meredith touched on that a bit as she talked about being an entrepreneur and that there's no such thing as a perfect balance. And I would agree with that. I would say, Kristen, it is going to be a sacrifice, most certainly, of you, right? There's only so much time and energy that you can put into anything. And so you will probably find that there are days where your career might get a little more attention, or days where your child will get a little bit of more of that balance, but it's imperfect. And I think you need to be okay with that and really be prepared to offer yourself grace. We do our best, right? We do our best in life. And as long as we go into a situation knowing that I'm going to try, I'm going to do my best, but I'm going to allow grace, and to know that I'm going to have hopefully a support team, my husband, my spouse, my family, to be able to step in. You can't do all things, right? No one person can do all things. But if you feel like you've got a wonderful team around you, both personally and professionally, to be able to pick up where you leave off, I think it will give you far more peace in the season. And just go into it knowing that it's not going to be 100% of you toward your child. It can't be. Even stay at home moms who have multiple children have to find the balance between each child. So just give yourself grace and permission, and don't let fear hold you back. You will be amazed at how God shows up in your life during these seasons and how he provides for you and will grow you and teach you along the way, and will also provide people and support as well. But I wish you well in your journey. Don't be afraid of it. Just know that, yeah, it's going to demand more of you. Being a mom just does, but it is the most beautiful, precious gift that God can give. And when you are in that season, you will go above and beyond and do all things possible to let that little baby feel loved and cared for. So I hope this helps, and I wish you well in that journey. Thank you so much for being with me today on Over 50 and Flourishing, or even Under 50 and Flourishing. We are women in all seasons of life. And if you enjoy the content that you get here, whether you listen on maybe Apple or Spotify, please don't hold back. Rate, review, subscribe, and share Over 50 and Flourishing with those that you know and you love. And if you watch here on YouTube, again, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. You'll be able to get notified every Monday when a podcast comes out, and every Thursday when I do my YouTube tutorials. And as always, leave a comment below if you like what you heard and what you saw and have any thoughts for future content. So appreciate you, and until next time.